Alright guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't seen the last episode, click it up in the top corner now. One of the two, I'm not really sure which one it is, because you'll notice that I made this bracket to fit my two brake master cylinders that I'm running on my Series 2 Escort RS Turbo. But what I found out, or I kind of had the inkling that it would happen anyway, but when I did mount it and then I started putting everything together, there was a lot of flex involved in that bracket, and that's the last thing you kind of want. And I did start to make some stuff to bracket it out and give it a little bit more structural integrity and stuff like that, but then I thought, you know what, that's fucking stupid. I may as well just make a box to sit behind the brake pedal between the firewall and the intake manifold. And I know I said before that I didn't have enough space, but if I cut off the end of these threaded rods here on the end of the master cylinder, if I cut off just a little bit there, I should have enough space to mount this behind the intake manifold and it clear the edge of this master cylinder. I am gonna have to run remote reservoirs somewhere else in the engine bay, but it's been done before many times. Not always on this car. I think there's only one person that's done what I'm doing, but let's cue the intro and get stuck in. Now I gotta ride or die. All right, so this is basically the backing plate. For those of you that know the Series 2 Escort RS Turbo really well, you'll know exactly where this is going to sit, but this is going to sit against the firewall. This cutout here is where the clutch cable, I think is the clutch cable, comes out, or it could be the speedo cable, but yeah, one of the two comes out and it kind of like comes down there. I'm pretty sure it's the clutch cable. And this hole here is basically where the push rod behind the brake pedal comes out to then push on the original braking bar, and then that would like rotate that way, and then along like that end somewhere all the way down here it would push against the brake booster. But so what we've got is that is going to still be there, but it's going to come out and it's going to push against, let me grab that for you. It's going to push against this piece here, and this piece is then in turn going to come forwards and push against the master cylinders. You'll have to excuse the cable in the view there, the camera is on charge. So it's going to sit pretty much like this, and then I've got sides and tops and that to weld onto it, give it a little bit of structural integrity. So what I'm going to do is put the camera down because I don't really have much battery on it. I'm going to piece everything together and then I'm going to weld it and come back and you guys can judge my welding skills. But guys, sit back and enjoy today's video as always. So this is pretty much almost a finished product. This pivot point in here in the bottom is not secure in there. It's just resting in there at the moment with a pin. And I do need to put in like a little washer or spacer in between each side. And obviously like the master cylinders aren't like fully bolted in yet. This is a bit that connects to the brake pedal, and this is my in-cab adjustable brake bias, so that basically sits in the cab, and when I turn that, this turns and it moves the bias bar across like this way or that way, and then that just basically adjusts where the bearing sits in the middle behind these big white washers, and then basically that just adjusts how much pressure is applied to each master cylinder, if it's even or if more pressure is applied to one than the other. And
it's in. And that's right, this is a different t-shirt. It's t-shirt number 3, if you were counting. So that would mean that this is the 3rd day in a row I've been here testing and adjusting the pedal box and fitting it. If anyone's ever fabricated a part, you'll know that when you fabricate a part, there's always a little bit of testing and adjusting as you're fitting it as well, especially if you're super new to fabricating like I am. But the pedal box is now connected, the brake pedal is connected, and the bias bar is connected to, well, the pedal box, basically. I haven't screwed in the cable yet for the bias bar. I can do that later, but let's turn the camera around and show you what it looks like. All right, so talk about that in a sec. This is my pedal box and it's all in, and the bias bar is all connected, and I do clear. It clears just, and there is like a little bit of clearance at the bottom there as well, so there's just enough clearance for everything, which is great. And then this is the adjuster cable for the brake bias, and that's just going to screw on there. Obviously I'm going to go around this and going to make sure that it isn't super bent out of place, so I might put that there and run it back into the cab, which is going to come out in there somewhere. I've not decided where I'm going to put it in the dash. But of course, with the master cylinders there, you guys know that the intake manifold sits here, and this does clear the intake manifold. I needed to put the reservoirs somewhere else, so remote reservoirs here, and I just mounted them on the front of the battery tray. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And I just made this bracket, just cut and bent some steel to make that bracket, and they sit there nicely. So all in all, pretty happy with that. I've literally done the whole, this is the end of the video, thanks for being here, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, like 4 or 5 times over the past few days whilst I've been videoing and that sort of stuff, and I just kept not editing the video and thinking, no, I'll do a little bit more, I'll do a little bit more. I really wanted this video to be pedal box in the car and finished, you know, like I say finished, there's no brake lines. I really want it to be pedal box in the car, and I really wanted it to be with the remote reservoirs, happy days, and all that kind of stuff. So that's this video. Thanks for being here. If you're still watching at the end, as always, you must like what you see, so please like and subscribe. Catch you on the next video, guys.